What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Moto Outsider. Yes, we are alive. And as always, I am joined by my beautiful, not so long haired co host, Mr. Chris Baird. Your hair's short, my beard's long. Dude, what is going on? What has happened, man? How are you? How's life? Fill us all in.
I know. I feel like I should have had my hood up and did like a little like hair reveal or something. But
Oh, I like that.
yeah,
Okay.
new year, new things going on in my life. Felt like I needed to change, but I'm probably gonna end up just growing this out again. Honestly, I kind of hate it, but we're gonna
I
leave
think,
it.
dude, I think you can grow out the sickest undercut. Keep getting the sides faded,
Yeah,
maybe like taper your beard in or whatever, and then just grow out the
yes,
sickest long undercut.
that's what I've been thinking about all day today. I've literally had
Yep.
this for a day, so this is kind of new to me. But
I love
yeah,
it,
man,
man.
I think we've both been super busy and trying to line these up underprepared is not fun, and talking about dirt bikes when we don't know what's going on is not fun. So obviously we follow it all the time, but
Yep.
it's been nice to actually just kind of have the weekend off to chill, and we had this plan for a while. So we're back. We're only 2 races late, but we're here, and I don't think we're going anywhere. This is going to be a long
No,
season, and I'm looking forward to
no.
it.
In
How
in
are
the
you, man?
words, absolutely, man. And in the words of the Wolf of Wall Street, we ain't leaving. I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving.
And we're this year
Exactly.
is going to be the year where we change the motocross and the motorsports media world. This is where it starts to change because you and I have been talking about a lot of things offline, and we're really excited to roll those out, not only with motocross but other motorsports. And
Yeah.
I'm pumped on that. And dude, I mean, you just got done doing a sick desert race. Fill us in on that because your pictures and videos look nuts. And if you can throw some up in here so people can see, but dude, what happened? Navigating again.
Yeah, man. Still in the spec trophy truck with my buddy CJ. It's nice to just jump in a $500,000 truck with him and go through the desert 400 miles. We had some issues about 20 miles into the race. We broke an axle clean down the middle, which is unheard of. Just kind of a freak incident. And we broke another axle. We broke a drive shaft. So it was kind of a nightmare day, but it
Dang.
was just super cool to be out in the middle of January. Wasn't that warm, but it was just a good race. Sun was out. It was just it's racing, man. You know what that's like.
Right.
Even when you're just navigating in the passenger seat, you still get that adrenaline rush, and it was 9 hours of just pure stress, hell, chaos, you name it. But very
I love
grateful,
it.
man. It was fun.
So two questions. One, what is the all right, three questions. What is the
Damn.
average speed in the truck throughout the race?
I didn't check hours, but like a good top guy is doing about 65 miles per hour average.
What is the top speed you guys hit?
We hit 110,
Got it. Okay. And
but
then
the big trucks, the full unlimited trucks, will do like 130. We're just
that's
in the spec
insane.
truck. Yeah,
With independent suspension just going nuts over, 4 foot moguls. Like,
bouncing.
so third question is with the damage you just talked about, which is insane damage for a truck designed to be beaten to the ground, what would be the estimated cost of repairs for what you just outlined?
That's I mean, you're probably looking at
Dude.
like a $5,000 to $10,000 a day for all the stuff we broke. But I mean, we had a teammate, Abdali. He's I don't know his last name, but he's very famous in Mexico. He was our teammate for the day, and he popped like 9 or 10 tires. When you think about all the parts and things we went through, like we went through a couple tires, you're looking at probably $10,000 to $20,000 per truck, and we had 5 trucks the team had brought out. So think about that,
Man. Yeah.
and then 10, 15 crew guys and all the trucks to get there and the camping. I mean, it's very expensive to do the arrive and drive with rental. So I don't think they're losing money, but
Right.
it's expensive, man. This is a rich man sport. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm in the seat,
Just
but
keep
I'm
rolling.
lucky, man. I know we
Yeah,
keep
keep
rolling.
you are, dude. I mean, keep rolling with it. That's why, man. You're in such a unique spot, and I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people would love to be there, dude. So, I mean, you've got a massive following online as it is. So, dude, just keep spreading that cool moto stuff, and that's why we're going to be rolling into all these new topics, motocross, of course, but other motorsports because you know so many other people and you know so many other sports. So it's like we're doing it a disservice not talking about it. So to turn this channel into all things moto, 4 wheels, 2 wheels, doesn't matter. It's gonna be pretty sick.
Yeah, man, we just want to try some new things, and I don't know. You're talking about like MotoGP and stuff. I mean, well, you got some big dreams. So I don't know if people are gonna love that, but we're gonna try to have a little bit of something for everybody, and
A little
we're
bit
gonna
of
at least test
everything.
the waters. People don't like it, then we won't do it. But we're gonna at least have some fun with this because,
Hey, if
uh,
it's racing and it goes fast, you and I are both addicted to it. If it's loud and it does wheelies, it's even more fun for us. So it's
yeah,
like, why not cover it? But I mean, we've had an incredible start to the Supercross season. A muddy start. All the races have been pretty sloppy, sticky, pretty crazy. We've had a lot of shakeups already, both in points and who's finishing where. So Dude, I mean, we don't have to dive into Anaheim and everything, but what are your thoughts, all things San Diego and what happened this past weekend? You and I both know the main headline, but dude, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I feel like it really has been boring racing, and I hate to be that guy, but there wasn't a ton going on. I mean, the 250s was pretty exciting, just with the top three, top four guys battling up to the last lap.
Right.
But I don't know, it wasn't that crazy. I think we've had a lot of letdowns too. I think Joe Shimoda's a big letdown we were talking about before we recorded.
Yeah.
And then 450s is just like we've had six, 250, 450, six total main events, and we've had six different winners. Exciting, yes, but not very exciting. The racing has just been slow paced.
Right.
We thought Jett was going to run away after round one. Luckily, he didn't. He's had a couple rough weeks, but
Yep.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to going back to Anaheim this week. It's actually supposed to be a triple crown, I believe, too, which is
I think
always good
so.
racing. So
Yep.
I'm hyped for this coming weekend more than anything because it's been kind of a slump so far,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
It's been rather lackluster. But
Yeah.
I think a majority of that has to do with the weather for obvious reasons. It's a much slower
Oh yeah.
pace, not as fun to watch.
Of
Um,
course.
but I think let's jump right into how Jet's doing on the 450s. You know, decent start. I mean, dude won Anaheim, right? So he's off to a good start. But what do you think, all things Jet, so far with what you've seen, and where do you see him going as these rounds progress? Because I mean, yes, the elements haven't been the best, but I don't think he's progressing or maybe adjusting to the 450s as fast as I thought he would. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to tell. I think it's tough because, on a dry track, he's been practicing, he's been super fast. I don't know how much mud practice he's had, but you got to expect all of that. You got to be ready to ride in the mud or the dry. It doesn't really matter. And he was great at A1, and then he had like a meltdown in San Francisco, and then this week was better for sure, but I just expected him to get better starts and be up front more. And I'll talk about it a little bit later, but you kind of saw the Honda boys struggling with their starts, especially
Yep.
Joe.
Yep.
I think Jet's fine. I don't think that he's going to have any issues. I do think there's going to be some of these weird weekends because at the end of the day, he's still a rookie. I think he's only 19, maybe 20 years old.
For sure.
Kid's young, he has
For sure.
so much time left in his career. Been very, very impressive, especially A1, just to watch him kind of do what he did and take off. And I mean, he was smart with his gap. He didn't blow everyone out of the water, but, he didn't let, Jason and Cooper get to him. So,
Right.
definitely impressive, but it's going to be interesting to see if he can actually be consistent for the rest of the season because there's 14 more races and he can't have more races like he did last week in San Fran. You can't be getting
Right.
ninth, 10th place. It's not going to get you a title.
And I think the same rule, and I think it's only fair that I say this because I said the same thing for Deegan on the 250s. You can't count last year; you got to count this year. I think
Yep.
the same thing is going to apply for Jett on 450s. I think Jett is a different caliber of talent, so he will do good this year, but I think next year will be scary.
Yeah,
Um,
for
but
sure.
what I love to see right now is Cooper looks like a totally different dude.
Dude,
That boy
Cooper
looks
Webb.
different, acts different, rides different. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like Cooper of old, and I know you're a big Coop fan. So what have you been seeing? What do you think?
Yeah, man. It's Cooper Webb. Like he's back, like total years
Yeah,
2020, 2021. Cooper Webb. Like that dude seems like he's back. It was really, really good to see him. I think I watched some videos from press day at Anaheim 1, and I was like, dude, holy crap. I didn't know if it was going to last 3 rounds. And again, San Fran was not good for him either, but I guess maybe that's like the throwaway race, right? Because
sure.
these past 2 races have been so good. He lost the weight he needed to lose. He looks aggressive. He looks comfortable. And to make such a big rebound from the week prior to be second and almost going for the win after, he had a little incident with Chase Sexton.
Yep.
It
We'll talk
was
about
really good to
that.
see. I don't know. Like, I truly think that the title is going to be down to him, Jett, and Chase. I'm not sure if Eli is going to be there every weekend. He's kind of proven these little things are already starting to happen. But, dude,
Mhm.
Cooper's back. I think he's someone we got to watch the next few rounds. And if he gets a win in the next couple races, I truly think he might be the title guy. It's really
Yep.
impressive.
One thing that is just, I think, synonymous with Coop is his late moto charges, right? We saw
Yes.
it in, I believe it was Detroit last year with where he ran down Plessinger. Well, Plessinger kind of threw it away.
Yep.
Was that the race that Coop won?
I don't remember which one that was. It might have been Detroit. Although when he
Sure.
threw away, I think so. Yeah, it's one
The
of those. It's
internet
been
world can fact check me on that. But
yeah, I know you're
I'm
talking
pretty
about.
sure, he's good at his late moto charges. And the same thing happened this past weekend.
Yep.
He's pushing, I believe the gap was down to like maybe like 0.4 seconds at one point,
It
maybe.
was
Like
so
just
close.
it was super close. And that's when Chase kind of got involved and maybe forgot he was lapped as Scoop was coming through. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he had another good late moto push, and it's fun to see because he's gonna, as these races go on, he will hawk some people down and make some cool moves.
Yeah, man, and I think it was kind of disappointing, the last few races at the end of last year when he came back on the Star Yamaha. We're like, all right, he's on the new bike, and he wasn't,
Yep.
super impressive at Charlotte or Chicago or even LA. So I think this is just such a big drastic improvement. And like you said, the late race charges, he's like, I think Anaheim, I truly, truly, truly believed before he crashed, I thought he might have made a run at Jett. It was looking so good for that if he, just kept it on
Yep.
two wheels, but
Yeah.
and one of the things I noticed too with Coop is that he likes to cut down in the corners. And when he got on that new KTM in 2023 season, 2022 season, just it wasn't happening for him. Like he wasn't able to turn that bike like the prior generations. And he looks like he's able to do that with this new Yamaha. He's really big cutting those insides and being smooth and quick with that. So
Yep.
we need a couple weeks of dry track to really get a feel for who these guys are, how fast they're going. I mean,
Yep.
Malcolm Stewart's another guy who's had 3 terrible races, but has been
Dude,
so
tough
fast.
breaks for that guy. I love that dude, and the breaks have just been not his way. Oh,
Yeah, I know. Like I think it's hard to really, really say who the guy is right now or who the guys are because we've had some really
yep.
crappy races. But I think you can't count out Coop right now. You can't count out Jett, Chase,
Nope.
and maybe Eli. Jason's been impressive too. So I don't know. There's
Sure.
there's there's a lot
Um,
going on.
Dude, I want to rewind it just like back to the 250s real quick. I
Yeah.
love how much coverage Billy Laninovich is getting.
Yes,
Like
dude.
he's I love
Yes.
it. I love it.
It's amazing. I know. I literally, I think I messaged him. I didn't know if I messaged him on Instagram or I think I commented on one of his posts, but I have a poster of him in my parents' bedroom still, like from when I was a kid, of him doing like a
Awesome.
whip at Twitch's place or something. But that
Yep,
dude is just, I don't know, to be that age and to be qualifying for these races is impressive.
for sure.
Unfortunately, had an incident this weekend, and I don't think he didn't make the main, but he's trying, dude.
Right.
He's trying at his age.
Yep,
Badass.
for sure. And then I mean you got some of the new guys too. Like I mean, Beaumair's killing it.
Yeah.
That dude's putting up, I mean, definitely better finishes and everything than I thought or anticipated he would be getting. But anything else coming out of the 250s that you think is kind of interesting? I mean, I expected more from DiFrancesco this year. Joe Shimoda looks like he can't
Mhm.
hang. Like, dude, I just think the 250s is kind of getting mixed up.
No, it's been a lot of craziness. I truly would have never thought that Jordan Smith would be leading the points or
Yep,
RJ would still be doing RJ things. RJ Hampshire, in my opinion, should be the guy winning this, if not for maybe Joe. Joe's just had some really, really rough races. I don't know, his
for
bike
sure.
blew up or something last week or whatever the issue was this week. Just he's really having trouble keeping it together. I don't know for whatever reason. He seems like he just cracks under the pressure. I don't know why. He's works with AC, he works with Nick Way, he works with some of the best guys in the world, and
Yep.
I don't know, it's just not working out for him. Garrett
Marchbank's been doing
Marchbanks,
good. I was
yeah,
gonna
Garrett
say the
Marchbanks.
whole that's the Club MX team. I mean, they've been
Mm-hmm.
doing pretty damn good so far. I know they had a tough break at A1. I think what's his name couldn't get his bike on the line
Yeah,
with
Nicolai
his
didn't get his bike on the
in
line.
Nicoletti was having engine issues. Which definitely scary as hell if you're gonna go bury the throttle and it just bogs.
Yeah, he said he had issues
Um,
all day with that. But then for them to
yeah,
come back last week and go, 3-4 match, Marchbanks Nicoletti was in a podium spot up to the last 2 laps. But I don't know. I think it goes to show how good that Yamaha is, like from stock
right. And
form. Because
dude, that's exactly what Ricky said this past weekend, man. They're pulling those YZs off the shelf, and these privateer teams got a bike that can damn near run up front. It's crazy.
they're good bikes, and I think every bike out there
Yep.
is a good bike, but the Yamaha, especially in the 250 class, and you look at Garrett, I mean, that dude, I think he's 6'2", he's a big dude. Phil's a
Right.
big dude. Phil's an old dude, and to be that quick and that comfortable on that bike without the full factory support is really impressive. But I don't know if they're having, I don't know if maybe it's a dark cloud around Phil, but I guess he had a transmission problem in the main this week, like a broken
Really.
transmission, which is unheard
Okay.
of. So,
Yep.
dude, it's just been again, this whole like the 250 thing is just up and down. Those guys are all over the place. Ryder D wins the heat race last week. Where was he this week?
Right.
He's just top
And
10, but he's not
I
doing great.
remember when the kid was coming up, it was like the next AC better than AC,
Mhm.
another historic rider coming up through pro circuit. And it's like, where's he at?
But dude, like this is the thing I keep going back to, at least in my head. I don't know if we've talked about it much, but you take away Deegan and you take away Jett.
Sure.
Like, who's that next big guy that's like come up from amateurs and just been so good and has been so consistent throughout the whole thing?
Right.
Like we haven't seen it. Like 450 guys, you're still looking at Tomac and you're looking at Malcolm and you're looking at these guys, Jason Anderson, who have been around for over 10 years. Cooper Webb been around for a long
Sure.
time. The young talent's not. I don't know if it's just they're not as quick or we've talked about it before. I think actually, but I'm just waiting for this young talent to come through and really shine. You
Yeah,
know, it's just hasn't
nothing,
happened yet.
nothing spicy. And I think, you
Yeah,
know, we'll probably see something where a rider maybe explodes on the scene, and it's like this dude comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he's crushing it.
yeah.
Um, but dude,
Well,
like
Jordan
so go
Smith and RJ Hampshire, they're over 10 years in 250 class, dude. Like those are the
right.
best
That's
guys
like
right now in
that was like what's his
250s.
name who's riding for Pro Circuit? Who was that? Oh
Oh,
my
Chris
god,
Blows.
was it Chris Blows? I thought it was
Yeah.
someone else too.
Well,
It
last
was
year was Blows.
go back a couple more years. Who am I thinking of? Oh,
I
was
mean,
riding Pro Circuit forever.
there's a bunch of guys who've been there. You know, Austin Faulkner's still there. Jordan Smith was
No,
there. I mean,
no, older dude. I'll know the
Tickle,
name when it's gonna come to me probably at 2 a.m.
Cincerillo. I mean, there's a bunch of guys.
No. I'm someone who just like rode the 250 class. He had like a foreign last name,
Dude,
French last name, kinda. All right, I'm gonna look it
I'm
up on
trying
my
I'm
phone.
having a brain fart, I guess. I don't know.
Me too. But dude, going back to the 450s, one dude who I think is kind of underrated. I mean, not really, but had a nice start and kind of got a bad shake was
Yeah.
Justin Cooper,
I mean, whole shot
our
of the
local
main.
boy.
Yeah.
So, like, I think he's a rider that could be top level talent, just kind of flying below the radar, definitely mid pack, front of the pack kind of dude, but doesn't get the media hype. What do you think on him?
Yeah, man. No, if we kind of think back to last year as well, I mean, he jumped in before he jumped over to 250 East. And on the 450, man, he was impressive. He was a top 10 guy last year every weekend. And for all the races he raced, anyways, in the 450 class, I think Justin is still young. I don't think he ever was expected to be this good. You know, he never really had that 250A class, like crazy debut. You know, he had like a college boy win at Loretta's. Like he was never like the guy coming up, but he earned a ride and he's really working his way through it. It's just impressive to see him get to where he is and rides with Cooper Webb every week now. Like I truly think
Yep.
that there's potential for him to be a top 5 guy. And I could easily see him podiuming one of these triple crowns, especially because his starts are so good. Again, whole shot of the main this week. He's known for his starts, and I think that if he figures this thing out, it would be really cool to see him up there and just I don't know. I don't think that he's gonna be like a championship guy in my opinion ever. Just
Mhm.
my opinion. Maybe he gets better as he
Sure.
gets older, but I do think that he'll be a podium guy. You know, week in week out.
Got it. So, dude, I had to go all the way back to 2013 to see the name that I was thinking of. And correct me
Or so.
if I'm wrong. Martin Davalos.
Oh, Davalos.
I
Okay.
feel like
No,
he was
he
on a
was.
250 his entire career.
Yeah, I don't know what you're thinking of. No, yeah, he
Yeah,
was, but you know,
but
it's that argument. Like, do you want to make money or do you want to race 450s? What do you want to do?
right. And dude, I'm going back. I'm looking at the team history on the Pro Circuit website, man. Just
Yeah,
remember some of these names. Let's take a trip down memory lane real quick.
it is, dude.
Um, Arnaud Tanis.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah, I mean, he's still racing GPs, still top
Yep.
talent over there. You know,
Tyler Bowers. Blake Baggett.
ours. Yeah,
Darren Durham.
that dude still is. He's a good free rider now. You know, he's still
And
around.
then
He's still relevant.
Jake Weimer, Christoph Porcel, but
Yeah.
the GOAT, in my opinion, absolutely not a GOAT, but in my opinion, I love the guy, Josh Hansen.
Little
Whole
hammy
shot
man.
Haney, baby.
Well, in my opinion, like when I think of like the best looking pro circuit bike, it's that 0506 KX250,
Easy,
dude.
easily. Yes,
So
totally
good.
agree.
Amazing.
No
Ivan
question.
Tedesco, my favorite pro
Yep.
circuit guy. He
Yep.
was he was a legend, hot sauce.
Dude. So let's get into the meat and the potatoes of this episode. The cowboy, America's hero. My dude gets his
AP.
win. Not only gets his win, brother, but has the red plate. All is right.
He
I mean,
did it.
the world is crazy right now, but all is right in the moto world, dude, with
Yeah.
him getting his dub. I mean, to see him celebrating the cowboy hat, the dance, everything, it just felt
Yeah.
so American, so right. The dude represents what the sport is. I can go on and on about this, but I know you were hype about it, dude. It was great to watch.
It's great. Yeah, it's great for the sport. You know, they gave him like a 10-minute podium interview. Like he's just a fan favorite. He's the guy. He's the Dale Earnhardt of our
100%.
sport, truly, you know,
Yep.
like
Because, dude, I think he represents the soul of what motocross is at its core. Strip the sponsors, strip the money, the media, everything else that comes down through it, all the contingency money, forget it. That dude is just riding his dirt bike happy, which is why we all got into this in the first place, man. No other
yeah.
sport worked out, so we got into this. And I think that's what makes it so much more special, man.
Cowboy hat, the long hair. I mean, you know, he grew up in Ohio. Like he wasn't a
Yep.
Cali boy. He's kind of breaking all the typical standards for a professional motocross racer. And
Give him a
he's
PBR, he'll be
just
out there with it.
dude, I know he's just so raw and he's not like super professional. And people love that because motocross isn't like a suit
Yes.
and tie sport. It's
Right.
not,
Right.
you know?
And I mean, that like you don't really see a lot of that in the media, but the media is very, compartmentalized and very like stiff. And I think that's what you and I are really trying to break away from, even
Yep.
though I don't mind throwing on a nice sport coat or something every now and then. But
No, I
it's
get
just a
it.
point that, dude, that is what this sports want. And I think that's what every sport wants right now. Just get back to how things used to be. I think that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just kind of cover Plessinger a little more because
Yeah.
I think he's got a big question mark over his head, and I think he's had that since he's gotten to the Red Bull KTM team because he's done well. He's ran up front. He's done some really good stuff. He almost won a race last year, till he crashed, which was heartbreaking. But
Yeah.
it's something with the bike, I think, because listening to a lot of other moto podcasts and media of the past couple of weeks, it sounds like Sexton had a kind of like a rough off season, but he wasn't 100% comfortable with the bike. And I guess he was kind of struggling going into A1, which I mean it showed a little bit. Um, obviously you kind of expect him to be right up front, and he wasn't there.
Mhm.
But I guess that Plessinger looking good on this bike, and they said Chase found something last week before San Fran that he hasn't touched clickers in over a week on his bike. Like I think those boys found something with that KTM, and I think that could really start to show when we get some dry tracks, probably this weekend at Anaheim.
Yep.
It's been a work in progress, but Plessinger has always had that raw kind of push to the front and just kind of run away with it type speed. So I'm kind of curious to see if he can do something, maybe get another win this season, or
Yep.
how him and Chase do in general, because it's just when you get a new bike, and I kind of figured this would happen. They start with a whole new model. You're starting from scratch. You had 4 or 5 years to develop the last model. Coop won a couple titles on it. Big things, happen when you bring over someone like Chase Sexton. They put all their resources into making the bike better. I think they've got something,
Sure.
and I think that Aaron is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I truly do. I think he might be able to. I mean, he has a points lead. What's to say he doesn't hold it for a couple more rounds? Honestly,
Right.
confidence, man.
Exactly. And like, so let's say it is something with the bike, right? At
Yeah,
what point is it no longer the bike? It's the team that's controlling what happens to the bike. Because let's
yeah.
face it, with R&D and all the money coming in, you can pretty much build any part you want with modern technology at this point. I would imagine. I'm ignorant to that fact. I don't know, but it makes sense just thinking about it.
Well, yeah, and I think we saw that with
So
Kenny at Honda. So I think you're right when it gets to a certain point,
So
without
who
a
do you
doubt.
like when at what point does maybe DeCoster have to go, or does some of the
Yeah,
does some of the team management have to be shaken up just to kind of spice the team? I mean, isn't that why Eli left Cowie in the first place, because he couldn't get what he wanted out of the team to put on the bike or something like that?
yeah.
So
I mean,
who
change,
knows,
and
man?
he wanted his cable clutch, didn't get that. I mean, you're right. Again, that's why Roxon partially left Honda, because he wasn't getting the parts that Chase was getting. He wasn't getting that BRC shock and all that cool stuff, and he's talked about it publicly. And I think another maybe next year, if we start seeing the same stuff with them struggling with the bike, I think as a team. But this year, it's only the second year on this current generation, so I think it's only fair that they get they're a little bit slack, at least for the first couple of years, is to really
Definitely.
work the bugs out.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Any So to put a big bow on this inaugural episode of us coming back in 2024, Um, anything else stand out to you this past weekend that you're going to be watching going into A2? Um, just anything that's kind of been poking at your brain. I know some stuff happened between Coop and Chase, but anything
Bef-
else that's kind of jumping out at you in the
yeah.
news world?
Before we talk about that, yeah, I want to say, Dylan Ferrandis, he's probably been one of the most consistent guys right now. He went, I think,
Yeah.
5.65 in the first 3 races. He's on a Phoenix Honda. Again, we talk about those privateer teams like Marchbanks and Nicoletti. He's in the 450 class, all the big boys. Been really impressive to watch him do well. Jorge Prado has been doing really well
Yep.
also. He's got some top tens already, and this is only his first season. He's an MXGP champion from last year, and I really want to cover MXGP all season long this year. It's going to be my goal. Whether or not you're in there, I'll do some MXGP shows, but
Yep.
just the adaptation to what this is. It's really tough. He won a heat race last week. Watching for him, yeah, and I'm curious to see like who steps up in 250s, because it's like a 13-point gap from RJ to Jordan from fourth to first. There's a lot of wiggle room there. One bad race for anybody. I mean, any of those guys, even Marchbanks could be your title
Yeah.
guy.
It's open.
Very open. And then some drama like you talked about. I'll post the video up here, at least one of the videos. But we saw Jett and Jason get into it a little bit. What do you think that was all about?
I love to see it, man. I don't care. Like, to me, I like the chippiness.
Yeah.
Whatever happened between them, whether it's bona fide or if it's just like childish, I don't care. I think that chippy edge is good for the sport and the fans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying these guys got to be out there throwing haymakers like hockey players, but you know, sometimes you want to see him rub up a little bit and, bang bars. And that's what racing is. And if, you got to throw a middle finger up in the middle of the race, who cares? I think it's great. Um, so,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it. We haven't seen Bam Bam do Bam Bam things yet, but I know his name's going to be brought up in the future, spicing things up. I know he's been under the weather
Yeah.
a little bit, but
Well, I mean, to get a podium this week was big for him, and I
yep.
personally don't see him being a podium guy all year, but I think it was
Mhm.
good for him to get up there. It's a mud race, kind of expect it.
Yep.
He won New Jersey last year in the mud. Always going to be a mud guy, but yeah, I think, and I won't ramble or go off too far, but with the whole Jett Jason thing, I think it's hard, and I think I talked to you privately about this year, but I feel like so many people hate Jett, even though he's probably the fastest raw talent speed in the
Mhm.
class right now. I just think that,
Yep.
again, they shove Jett in our faces every week, and I think people love Jett, but also they're getting kind of sick of everything being about Jett. And then when you see him
Right.
and Jason get into it, Jason held him off for 4 or 5 laps. I didn't see Jason do anything dirty, for him to get off the track and be so pissed off. Maybe it's because he couldn't pass him, but you don't mess with El Hombre.
Mhm.
He kind of pushed back, which I liked, which is really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but yeah, I just think that people aren't going to take this stuff from Jett. He's a new kid, and
Yeah, so
obviously
get
he's
smashed. Like it
the
gets
golden
smashed
boy.
in a turn. It is what it is.
I think he's got it coming. I really do. I think he has it
Hey,
coming.
yep.
But
And
yeah,
I
and
mean,
then just
yeah,
part of the 450 class. These guys aren't going to let you push them around. It's just they're veterans, and yeah, I don't know. Curious to see what happens with that.
me too, man. Not expecting much out of Hunter this year, unfortunately.
I don't know. Yeah, that's Hunter's a tough one. It didn't qualify for A1. Did have a crash on press day. It was pretty big, but I don't know. You got to think that he's going to be a decent top 10 all year. He should be in that
Yep.
mix. Again, I think he was running 6th or 7th this race. He's got the talent for sure. He rides with his brother every week. I don't see how he couldn't be that good. And that's one of the things with Sho Shimoda too that I question. Like, I get he rides with AC and he trains with Nick Way, but why wouldn't he be in Florida training with them every week? He literally could train with his teammate Jett Lawrence. Does that
Right.
make sense to you?
Well, we can only speculate, obviously. Joe, if
Yeah.
you're watching this or if someone sends you this, come on the show, bro. Speak. But no, if you want to compete at that level, you have to
Yeah.
surround yourself with that level of talent. Like
Yes.
Joe can't be hanging out with super mini guys for a stupid example,
No.
but you get my point. You have to be
Hmm.
hanging with those dogs to get
Yeah.
on that level and maintain that level. If you're trying to level up and grow, you don't want to be hanging out with people who are at your level or beneath you, for a lack of a better term, to
Yep.
make yourself feel good that you're the fastest guy on practice at the practice track.
That's what I'm
You got to be
saying.
chasing those guys, getting those lines, and just trying to run that pace. So no, it doesn't make sense to me. He should be out there, barring there's nothing going on that's serious or personal that we don't know about. And it only makes sense you would be with him. That brings that. Let's go back to what we saw a social media post a couple like months ago. Why is Deegan chilling with Tomac, or vice versa?
Yeah.
Why are they
Trying to get
practicing
better.
together? Right.
I mean, it makes
So
sense, right? Like you're out of the faster
exactly.
guys, and you're gonna get faster. I nothing against AC. Cincerillo is very fast, but
Sure.
Chet and Hunter are two of the fastest guys in my opinion. So I don't,
Right.
at least based on last year,
And it's not
I would
like
go
he has
train with them.
nothing to learn from them.
Yeah, he didn't win any titles. He might have won a couple of races last year, but he wasn't the guy. He was good at Southwick, but
Yep.
I don't know. Just
One
got some
racing ain't cut it.
questions.
Yeah.
No, and then I think change is really good. We've seen it with Tomac and Anderson and all these guys. Like sometimes you just need change. Maybe it's time for Joe to get away from Nick Way and try to do something different.
Sure.
Go
It's
train down in Florida.
we've seen the same strife come down to people who are, working with Alden Baker, right?
Yeah.
That just say they needed to change and wanted to get out of there, even though Plessinger, I think, it trains at the Baker's factory, runs that whole program.
Yeah, Plessinger's down there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a fit for someone else and it's not for the next rider, right?
Yeah.
It's a toss up.
No,
It's where you
just
got to
goes
get
to
in where you fit
show
in.
change can be good. I mean, like
Right.
look at Cooper. Cooper was flipping off your prior season champion this weekend because he was
Love it.
lapping him and he wouldn't get out of the way.
Love
Just
it.
on a new bike, new things. But there's a lot going on. This
Yep.
is an exciting sport, and
I think, like, dude, all of this to say it's far too early to tell what's going to happen. The season just started. A lot of these guys are working the kinks out and the bugs out with the team, getting into flow and a rhythm.
yeah,
I think the fun stuff is going to start to heat up as we get more towards the halfway, third quarter of the season.
yeah,
And you and I both love outdoors, so plenty of stuff to look forward to this year, man. It's
yeah.
going to be a great year in the Moto World. 2024 is going to be sick.
They say it every year, but I truly, truly, truly believe this might be the most tax season we've ever had in I mean, despite like I don't know 89 or 90, those are some big years too. But look at the
Yep,
talent. Look what we have. We have MXGP. We
for
have
sure.
so many good guys, and
And not only that, from a media production standpoint, they really upped the production value of Supercross, in my opinion. We've got more
yeah,
drone shots. They're doing like rider intros, like what the Sunday Night Football stuff is. Where the
yep,
riders state their name, their team, and where they're from or whatever. Little stuff like that is cool, kind of making this like evolving the sports production a little bit. And I like to see that. It's nice to see Stu in the booth. I love James Stewart's take on everything. I think he's a natural at calling these races because the dude sees things that, you know, the regular media hired help isn't gonna see, to be
yep.
honest.
No, you're right. Yeah, I think the production's been a lot better. They've gotten a lot of hate over the past couple of years, but
Yep,
I think they're doing a much better job this year. I am a longtime fan of Ricky Carmichael, literally my childhood hero. But
for
I think
sure.
he's the only thing in the booth that I don't love. I don't love, Lee Diffie either. But James is a
No.
great addition to the booth, and they have had Jason Wygant up there this year. I'd love to see him and James in the booth for outdoors was incredible. They'd be
Yeah,
so good in
for sure.
Supercross, you know?
Dude, this is my speculation here. It's definitely not rooted in fact or anything. It's kind of like an observation, maybe, or maybe it's Ricky's tone. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, Carmichael always sounds as if he's distracted in the
Hmm.
booth, or if he's like, obviously he's watching the race, but to me, it just seems like this is media is kind of like the last thing he wants to do. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm saying that, but it makes sense to me
Hmm.
when I think, because I've been thinking about it since the season started. I'm like, why is this dude still in the booth?
Well, I mean, he's a great dirt bike racer. For me, it's just like his voice. Like, I just think he's very choppy. He's not like a really smooth talker. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying that it's not easy. I get it. I probably wouldn't be good in there either. But
Oh, for
James is
sure.
really good at it,
Yeah.
and you should
And
get guys like
it,
that.
it's a sport where everything happens really fast. There's no timeouts. There's no change of innings. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? There's no halftime. So
I love
everything
the raw
happens very
emotion,
fast.
but yeah, it
Right.
does. He's
Um,
always super excited when something happens, and that's good. He's very aware of what's going on and has good knowledge. But
Dude, I would love to see him back on a team management role. I love the Hart and Huntington, days with
yeah,
him.
RCH.
Oh, yeah, RCH.
No, you're
I
right.
love
Yeah,
when he was running that. I just maybe I think he might be more built for that than media. But I mean,
yeah.
he keeps getting the media contracts. The ratings are floating him, so obviously he's doing something right. Again, that's just my opinion. I don't know.
For sure. But who knows? We're kind of got to wait and see what happens with Triumph too. He might be a big role there. He's already
Dude,
been a role in developing the bike.
Triumph,
And
Ducati's coming, Beta's coming. I mean,
dude, I know they've been teasing that
so
bike. Have you seen Tony riding it and stuff? They've been posting tons of
Yup. So
videos.
to tease some future episodes, we're talking about the new teams. We're gonna have Drew
Mm.
Hopkins back on.
I know
We're
he's
getting his
deep in Triumph
inside take.
world.
Yep, getting his inside take on things. We're gonna be breaking
Yeah.
down these new teams because it's gonna be great to see new teams added to the gate. I'm so pumped.
Me too, man. Like we had Benny Bloss. We got 15th this week on his beta. He was the best finish so far for them in 450 Supercross. But
Yep.
and then there's a lot of controversy and stuff I'll keep for another show about Joey Savacci not being able to race the 250 this year because of the points rules and BS. But yeah, man, it's just new teams, new riders, new bikes. I'm hyped, dude. This is a
Dude.
legendary season. I'm kind of bummed we're 2 episodes late to the start of the year, but I think we're
Hey,
gonna be
better
on
late than
a
never, man.
yeah, no, you're right. We started right around this time last year, so
Yep.
hey, look what we did. We're building an empire, and
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day. So
Well, and not only that, man, we couldn't do without everyone who's supported us from day one too. That's been the sickest part, is that some of you guys have been,
yeah,
A1 from day one, which has been sweet. We've seen all your comments on our videos, all your
yep,
support and love, dude. None of it goes unnoticed. And we can't thank you guys enough, because honestly, without you guys watching, we would be just rambling to ourselves on the phone. So
yeah,
to do this together and to bring it to you guys is awesome. And just to think where we're going and what the plans are for the future, whether it's, we have some charitable stuff that we're going to be doing for the motocross community. Obviously we're
yep.
going to be running some merch in the future, not just your typical t-shirt garbage. Just really fun stuff. So I mean, we're just pumped, guys. 2024 is going to be it for sure.
Let's go. Yeah, man. There's not really much else to say about that other than thanks
Nope.
everyone for the support and Moto Outsider. We're going places, man. I think that we're gonna work hard on getting on more of like a better schedule. Essentially, I know I want to be better
Yep.
at that, and we're gonna try to do at least 2 videos a week, hopefully. So yeah, don't go anywhere. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, hit the button. Make sure your notifications are turned on because we have a lot of content coming. The Drew episode is good. It hasn't been recorded yet, but I already know it's going to be amazing because that dude has so many
Yeah.
great stories, and he's
Yep.
one of the first people from Triumph to actually like talk about what's been going on. I can't wait to hear what he's got to say to us.
For sure. And we're hoping that video breaks the Moto YouTube world. So guys,
Yeah.
be sure to subscribe on that and let us know. Comment down below what questions you have for Drew about the new team and everything coming on the East Coast. So drop those comments below. We'll get them answered by the man himself so you can hear from him.
That's it. I got
That's
nothing
it.
for you, dude.
Guys,
That was a good show, man. It's
that's
good
all
to
I'm gonna
talk
grab
to
the
you.
mic. That is Moto Outsider out.